Proper Punters, brought to you by CrossBet. Are you ready to level up your punting game?
Welcome back to another episode of Proper Punters. I'm joined by Tommy Ford today. We have an elephant in the room, as you could say, punters. Mace, no longer with us, unfortunately, no.
He's taking a spell, a quick freshen up.
Great time of year to take a spell also, Mace. We wish you all the best. Don't tune out now, punters. Obviously, it's a new face on your screens here. I was the guest last week, and now I've just been thrown into the hosting role. So great for me as first emergency getting to start favourite in the $10 million Everest.
Thrown into the deep end, but will he stand up in grade?
Hopefully a bit better than Spirit of Wealth last week for those that dived into the shorty in the group race. Before we get into this week, I thought we'd give ourselves a little tug and look back at last week. We went quite well. Everyone had a winning, profitable week. Yourself with Valencia, Mace with Switzerland was very well supported and it was a nice win. And myself, I bandwagoned with you of Valencia and Ferrari. Yeah. Zachy Lloyd got it home late in the day. That was a good result for yourself.
He was nervous at one stage, wasn't he? He was going to go to the outside and then he decided to go back to the rail and just thought, I'm on the best horse here. I'll just show that I'm the best.
Yes, and Antino, huge win in the Caulfield Cup. How'd you rate the ride?
Oh, man, everyone's seen the ride. Everyone's at awe of the ride, but I won't add too much. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, thanks, Scoop. It was like the best ride you'll ever see, obviously, especially in Group 1 conditions. But
unreal. I
thought before we get to this week, I thought we'd touch base on what happened during the week, the barrier draw. Do you have any comment on that, Tommy? Sweet or not sweet? You missed it. Okay,
I didn't see it, and I'm glad from what I've heard.
Yeah,
it was just a bit of a circus.
Yeah, not
figuratively and literally.
Yeah, legit. Not sweet for me. I preferred when they bought the $10 million yacht. They got all the rich bodies out in the Sydney Harbour and they rented out the Opera House for the night and they flashed the horses up in the barriers. But unfortunately, it looks like there's been a few budget cuts at Racing New South Wales. They've had to go to the Circus du Soleil, whatever they call it. And we saw people getting thrown out of cannons. And James Cummings looked very amused there, especially when Traffic Warden, old mate, got thrown pretty much into the tables. And then, boom, barrier 2 comes out. So it was quite entertaining, wasn't it?
Yeah. Unreal.
All right, so punters, we're covering 5 races at Randwick, all the black type races, obviously the Kosciuszko and the most important race of the day here in Sydney, the Everest. But before we do that, let's go down to Caulfield. We've got the time-honoured Caulfield Cup over 2,400 metres at Group 1 level. The current favourite in this race is Buckaroo, number 2 for Joe Moreira and Chris Waller, $4.40 with CrossBet. How did you see the speed in this race, Tommy?
Yeah, speed looks good. Elias will roll across from the outside gate, being a Gay Waterhouse runner. That's how I typically see it. Deny Knowledge, beat Mr. Brightside, went very quick last weekend. I think they'll adopt a similar tactic. They look your 2 speed influences. Elias up to the 2,400 and Deny Knowledge up to the 2,400. I don't know if they'll want to put the brakes on in the middle of the part of the race, but I think they'll go at an above average clip, and I think that should afford every runner their chance if good enough.
So have you landed on?
I've landed on Buckaroo, respecting the market. $4.20 seems fair. The horse I want to oppose is Elias. I think the wide draw and up to the 2,400 metres for the first time is a concern, and I just don't think it brings as solid form as Buckaroo does and as the Metrop Quinella do in Zardozi and Land Legend. I think they're the 3 I want to hone in on. It's a great race for exotics. I'll figure out my exotics on Saturday morning. But yeah, Elias is the one that I think I'll be leaving out of my exotics and honing in on Buckaroo and particularly Land Legend.
Sounds like we've got to tune in on the Discord on Saturday morning for Tommy's exotics in the Caulfield Cup. I'm very similar to you. I've got Buckaroo on top, obviously, for the man, the magic man, Joe Moreira and Chris Waller. He's obviously flying this preparation since he came back from the gelding operation. He's won 2 of his 4 starts, hit the line really well in that Turnbull, which was run at a really fastly run tempo. And I think he's just drawn to get a lovely run midfield, good speed in the race, as Tom just mentioned. And I think he's a deserving favourite. And yes, there are multiple ways you can go in this race, but I think with that run, the win, 2 starts back at Caulfield, I think that's obviously very important because the likes of Land Legend and Zardozi, who looked the 2 probably main dangers, I guess, in betting, neither of them have gone the Caulfield way. So, they've never raced at Caulfield. So I think Buckaroo has that in his favour and he is a deserving favourite. Yep. Anything else in Melbourne for yourself, Tom?
No, I haven't looked at Melbourne yet. See what rain falls. They've got some chance of rain, so that'll change the track, and I'll be looking Saturday morning.
Yeah,
but
sweet as.
I'll be focusing in Sydney mostly.
Can't wait for it. All right, let's go to Randwick now. As Tom just mentioned about rain, there's a bit of rain forecast in Sydney. How do you see this track playing? It's currently a soft 5. Looks like it's improving. Well, soft 6 in some places, but a bit of rain around tomorrow, clear sky Saturday. How do you see the track from a going perspective and obviously any bias?
Yeah, rail out 3 metres. It's interesting what lottery the bomb will throw up tomorrow with how much rain falls. But I think we'll be in that soft range. Horses that like to get their toe in will be suited. I don't think it'll be a bog. I don't think we'll be on a heavy monsoon 10. But yeah, the drying conditions on Saturday should be suitable enough to bring it back to like a soft 6, I think. Rail out 3 should take out that inside part of the track. I think, as usual with Randwick, you want to be coming down the middle part of the track. I think the rain will only make the inside worse and it'll deteriorate quicker. And I think jockeys will just be finding sort of 8 to 10 off the fence coming down the middle part of the track with that swooping run.
Hopefully that suits a few of the fancies in the Everest. I see I Wish I Win drawn wide and obviously with that really well-known barnstorming down the centre of the track racing style. But before we get to the grand final, the Everest, let's go to the grand final for the country horses, race 5. Kosciuszko, 1,200 metres. Favourites, and a really demanding favourite, is Front Page. Currently $2.40 with CrossBet, but I do note there is a bit of a drift with Front Page. So we're talking off-air, potentially see a bit of a longer price come jump. How do you see this race panning out from a speed perspective, and what have you landed on?
Yeah, so I've got a fast tempo. Front Page will want to go forward. Elson Boy and Compelling Truth will want to take the lead in their races. I think that'll inject a lot of speed into this. Also being a grand final with intent, I too think jockeys will want to go forward, chance their arm and try and be up on speed to give their horse the best chance. And then I think horses such as Asgardia, Tanglewood, Bandy's Boy is a talented horse dropping back to this country grade. They'll all want to sit off and use their turn of foot. Hopefully the speed's strong enough that they can bring themselves into the race. I've landed on Front Page. I think this is just the intent. I mean, all horses have the intent, but I think Matthew Dale has just got this horse absolutely flying in the trials. He is getting older, but I don't think that slowed him down in the trials. Really nice trial. J-Mac goes on. The intent's there. The bookies didn't want to take any risks, clearly, on Wednesday, putting up 210. I think that was far too short and a big overreaction. There's some quality animals in this, and I think we'll see closer to $3, and I think I want to be playing around that $3 mark with Front Page. How do you see it, JC?
Bookies don't take many risks these days.
No,
they're as soft as they come. But yes, I do not want to knock Front Page as a horse. Obviously, he's won the last 2 editions, as you rightly pointed out. But from a price perspective, I think he is a little bit skinny. He's obviously a rising 8-year-old now. So I have landed with number 5, Boom Talk, for Matty Dunn. Since he's got back into the country from Warwick Farm, he's practically taken out every highway since. Horse is absolutely flying. Run 3rd in the Theo Marks last start. Down in trip, drawn a cell just off the speed for Nash Rawilla. I think if there's any horse that will run down Front Page, I think it is Boom Talk, and you're getting, I guess, a similar price for him just to run a place than Front Page is now to currently win. So I think that'll be different come race day. I'm assuming Front Page does get out in the market and they start coming for horses such as Boom Talk. But he's just the way I've lent from a price perspective, but obviously no knock towards Front Page. I don't necessarily want to get egg on my face, especially when Tommy's got it as one of his better bets of the day at Randwick. Let's move on now to race 6. It's the Sydney Stakes over the 1,200 metres. Very open market, this one. You've practically got about $5 the field. The current favourite is Southport Tycoon with CrossBet, $4.80, obviously coming off that Group 1 win down in Victoria at Moonee Valley under lights. He was absolutely explosive. Still don't know how he won that race. Were you on Grown Empire by any chance?
No.
I was.
Yeah.
Still flat.
Yeah.
Still flat.
Still recovering from that.
Haven't recovered.
A win on Saturday would be nice.
I was going to tip Grown Empire on Saturday, but after watching that replay about 100 times, I thought, well, this is a weak piece of you know what. So I've gone elsewhere in the Everest. But before we get to that, let's get into the speed map for the Sydney Stakes.
Yeah. I've got a fast tempo. Coal Crusher will want to go forward as well as Overpass, and I don't know what they're going to do. Think about it. Interesting looking at the New South Wales maps. They think about it could press on from gate 16. Chance it's the 3 wide line should be on in such a large field, and so if he can sort of find a position there that looks advantaged, they'll go at a quick tempo, and then I think horses that'll be running on include Lady Laguna, King of Sparta, Mumbai Muse, Airman from 4, nice winner last start to knock off all the horses in the Everest. They'll want to just settle midfield, I think, from their cozy gate, and then Arkansas Kid, gate 6, will just settle up on speed in a cover position. It kind of has sort of a New South Wales Cup feel. This is the match before the grand final, and they typically will be a very competitive race. I landed on Lady Laguna and Mumbai Muse at each way odds. Really like the way Mumbai Muse fought hard to the line against Sunshine in Paris 2 back at Rose Hill. I think that's a top figure, and I think if it can repeat that figure or find anywhere near that form again, it'll be competitive in this race. I like Gate 11, and I like Tommy Berry on swoopers. I think he'll get this horse into the right part of the track, and I think it can be hitting the line strongly. The other horse is Lady Laguna. I think Wet is best for this horse, and I really like, it's a Group 1 winner in this field that's quickly been forgotten. And the 7th first up, I wouldn't read too much into that. If it can find its best stuff coming down the middle part of the track, I think it can run extremely well at each way odds.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of horses flying this race, and if you like Tommy's selections, you're going to have to get your old phone out and start scrolling down to the bottom. Don't. Yeah. They're in the race, punters. Don't you worry. Number 16, number 18 down the bottom, down that set weights and penalties. They get it in really well, especially Lady Laguna, 113 rater. I have gone the complete opposite side of the spectrum. So if you are looking to follow my tip, I'm doing it for you nice and easy. I'm going number 1. Overpass for Bjorn Bajeka. He has won his last 2 races, both at Ascot. Admittedly, had that break, went over there. First up assault, first up crush in the Quokka. He's won both his trials this time back over the 900 metres. I do concede the thing with this horse is he's never won in 9 starts at Randwick, but he did run second to Private Eye first up 2 preps ago. So I think that stat is a little bit deceiving. If you really dig deeper into the statistics, you can see 2 of those runs were in the Everest. No offence to Overpass and his connections, he's never got to win an Everest. That's just the simple truth. And 3 of them are on bottomless heavy tracks, and he's just not a heavy track horse, unfortunately. He can handle soft conditions. We're not going to see a heavy track on Saturday. If we see that, then I'd be absolutely shocked. Yeah. But Overpass, for me, at $5, I think is great value. He's obviously got a race on speed. Small query Randwick, small query 1200 first up in a highly high-pressure race. But I just think he's the class runner in the race. All right, do you want to rip and tear into the big one, Tommy?
Yeah, we can get stuck in.
Everyone's been waiting for this race, and it's a race that just continues to rise in prize money. Recently, it's gained Group 1 status for the first time this week. That was passed through, I think, this week from memory. Yeah. $20 million will get shared around among hundreds and thousands of people and shareholders and God knows what. So we're going to get into the Everest. That's race 7 at Royal Randwick. Over the 1,200 metres, Group 1, weight for age race. The best sprinters in the entire world are set to battle here. It's a very open betting race, arguably one of the most open Everest we have ever seen. We've got joint equal favourites currently on CrossBet, I Wish I Win and Jolie Star. Let's get into the all-important speed map, Tommy.
Yeah, fascinating. This is the most open Everest, as you just said. Be very interesting with the map. I looked at this and did 5 different maps. Still don't know which one it is going to be right. It's interesting what Stormboy will do. I think that's your key starting point. Has missed the start, has been slow away. It can't really afford to be slow away in this class, I don't think. And then the other horse will be Lady of Camelot. The 2 gay runners, they'll want to be positive. I think Lady of Camelot could cross Stormboy and they could swap from their barriers, I think. If Stormboy start tardy away and is pushed along to try and find a positive position, I think that could over race and I think it could inject a lot of speed. I Am Me, Gate 1, it'll just be cozy. It'll be positive, but then be restrained to just find a nice cozy seat. It'll be interesting what Growing Empire did. If they want to press on and Stormboy is slow away, I think Lady of Camelot could lead and Growing Empire could find OSL. So there's just a few little rotations there of where they're going to find their positions up on speed. And then I think the runners in behind will find their more natural positions and are more consistent to land.
You think Stormboy is guaranteed to miss the kick, considering his last recent starts, he's obviously missed the kick. Yeah. Now he's going into the highest pressure race in the entire world. And dropping in distance, changing jockeys. Like there's a few things there that you'd think, obviously, Hieronymus, a more known aggressive jockey compared to Abdullah, who's a bit more of a pretty rider, I guess we could say. Both great riders in their own respect. But I think Stormboy is going to be in a bit of world of pain, I assume, especially from a low barrier also. I think barrier 10 was definitely in his favour last start. Obviously, he was ridden to get to the front up to 1,400 metres. Thought his run was absolutely enormous. But he's a horse that could be vulnerable in this Everest. But I'll let you get back to your...
right. And then I think the horses that are disadvantaged, I think Bella Nipotina is disadvantaged. I think the horses raced well this preparation from soft draws, racing up on speed and sort of saving that ground. So I think I can't see Bella being advantaged, having to swoop and show a turn of foot that might be sharper than I Wish I Win, or it might be sharper than Sunshine in Paris. Private Eye Gate 10, another situation where this horse has been forward in its prep and it's also raced back. I think with the intent of the Everest, I think they're not going to leave anything to chance. They'll be forward.
Talking about barrier draws, you won't see a better barrier drawn horse than I Am Me. Listen to this, Tommy and listeners. Oh my God. Last two preparations. First up, last prep, barrier 2. Second up, barrier 2. Third up, barrier 1. First up this prep, barrier 2. Second up this prep, barrier 2. And then went to a trial, drew barrier 11 in the trial, which is impossible. So RaceNet, thank you very much for not working. Now it's got barrier 1. So if you're the connections of I Am Me, count your lucky stars. You've had 6 low barriers in a row. Incredible. And you've drawn barrier 1 in a $20 million race. So good luck to all the connections there and Dynamics indications.
Yeah, unbelievable. I didn't know that stat, but that's crazy.
Can't believe it. I laid it last start. That's why I was just dirty on it because I got the softest run ever. And poor old Steffi was flashing through that pack. And I was like, come on, Steffi, go, run it down. But I Am Me, big rise in class. How do you think she'll go, by the way? She's a $15 shot in this race.
Yeah, I was happy to look around her. I'll just leave it at that. I think I also laid her last start and was cheering Steffi. And I think a bit of anger in me still wants to just get her beat again.
Yes, I think this is a little bit of a rise from that race. Yeah. But let's get into your selection for the Everest.
Absolutely open. I still don't know if I have an idea of what is going to win or who I like. I think the two value plays are Steffi Magnetica and Sunshine in Paris. I think they've got quality form and quality sectionals to be competitive with horses that are $6, such as Jolie Star and I Wish I Win. So on the basis of that opinion, I think they represent small value. No disrespect to Jolie Star. The win 2-back, Randwick 1200, was absolutely dynamic. Like J-Mac eased up with 50 metres to go. Then went to Rose Hill, didn't let down as well. Second up syndrome at Rose Hill. Like there's a number of scenarios you could paint to suggest why she lost. The freshen up, the trial, J-Mac jumping on when he sort of had the Giga Kick ride booked, I think is big intent. And I think it deserves to be $6. Growing Empire, I don't know if we want to speak about it, but we can quickly
Preferably not.
We can move over. I mean, I think this is the strongest 3-year-old crop that's entered the Everest so far. The likes of Traffic Warden and Growing Empire are really up to this race in their neck. I think when Yes won this race, he was $10. I think when Giga Kick won this race, he was $26. So the market has really honed in on these 3-year-olds and they're not letting them get out to those prices again. So $7.50, $8. I think they're about their right prices. I think Bella Nipotina and I Am Me are the two that are too short currently. I'd look to oppose them and not sure what to do with Giga Kick. I mean, the horse has talent on his day, but J-Mac jumping onto Jolie Star, and it's just been so-so, I think, in the runs. This preparation makes me want to stick to the fence with that runner.
Yeah, well, I thought Giga Kick was pretty good first up, to be completely honest. He obviously carried 60.5 kilos. He was caught wide, no cover. But last start, I thought he was just plain. I thought every horse in that race had their chance other than Bella Nipotina. She was obviously held up on the back of a very slow tempo and arguably should have won the race. But obviously, barrier 12 does her chances no good. I think the soft track sort of does help her a little bit. But as you mentioned, she's most likely going to be eyeballing a horse such as I Wish I Win, and I agree with you. I don't think she has the... well, I guess we saw in that... what race was it? Was it Stradbroke? Wasn't the Stradbroke. It would have been the Kingsford Smith, I think.
Yeah.
Where they eyeballed each other down the home straight, and I Wish I Win was outsider and got the better of her late in the piece. And I think that could potentially happen with those two. But I have landed on a 3-year-old. I think this is as open an Everest as everyone's obviously saying. I think age sprinters aren't as good as what they have been over the past couple of years. We've obviously seen the likes of Classique Legend, Nature Strip, Eduardo, all our household names that we grew up loving and watching. So I've gone with Traffic Warden in this race. I thought he was really good first up in the run to the Rose. He was a very good line chasing win, getting past a Node, who is a subsequent winner, and Stormboy on that occasion. He then rose to the 1,400 metres, looked to win the race, but broadsiding got the 10 out of 10 run from James McDonald. I think that's the right form for this race. Obviously, they all come out of good races. They're all good horses. We all know that. There's got to be 12 horses in this race, 12 opinions, 11 of them got to be incorrect, one of them's going to be right. But for me, Traffic Warden's the horse. He's drawn low in barrier 2. He's very tractable. He can just sit off the speed. I think dropping in distance is a massive tick. So it could be a high-pressure race. With 53 on his back, Jamie Carr's booked a ride. Not a huge fan of Jamie Carr, Not as much as some people, but I think for this horse, she'll ride him a treat. She's really got soft hands. I think he'll settle beautifully. If the gaps do open up in the straight, I think he's got to show a really sharp turn of speed and hopefully be there when the whips are cracking. So I'm with Traffic Warden, and you've gone a little bit wider with the two mares in the race.
2 plays, Sunshine in Paris and Steffi Magnetica. On the drive over here, a mate of mine said that no girl or female horse has won the Everest, so hopefully we can buck that trend this year.
Yeah, so I saw CrossBet on their Instagram story when I was coming over here myself. They also said the same thing. So it'd be nice if they can give us a promo, give us $10, max bet 20 or something for a female to win the Everest. Hopefully she can do a Michelle Payne like when she won the Melbourne Cup that year.
Yep.
I won't forget that day. A little story time here. I was with my mum at the local Green Giant venue. I would have been about 15, and my mum said, oh, look, it's a female jockey. Let me put $5 on. I was very young. I was like, I don't think she'll win the race. Female jockey's never won the race. Yep, it was 100 to 1, and I cost my mum 500 smackaroonies, and I think she's still off me. I still pretty much owe her that loan back. But it's all right, Mum. Hopefully, we'll back a few winners on Everest Day, and I'll pay you back in full. All right, I think we're done there.
Yeah,
we're about done there. Do you have any
tackled the Everest? No.
Do you have any stories about talking people off bets and cost themselves a small fortune?
Yeah, too many, but we'd be here all night.
Yeah,
100%. To talk about that.
All right, let's move to race 8 now, the Silver Eagle over to 1,300 metres. This is obviously the lead-up run for the Golden Eagle, which will be at Rose Hill in a couple of weeks' time for the 4-year-olds. Run for amazing amounts of prize money. I think it's $10 million from memory.
Yeah, incredible amounts.
Amazing. I'd love to own a horse anywhere near as good as this. I've got a little slow one going around Gold Coast on Saturday on the synthetic track. So best of luck to you, hit them up. A race 8, Silver Eagle, very open race. Obviously something we've come accustomed to on this Randwick program. We've got Ostraka, currently the $4.80 favourite. He's been really impressive in both his wins, showing his versatility this preparation. Let's go through the speed map in this race, Tommy.
Yeah, more gay runners, more leaders. Bases loaded. Gate 13, it'll just storm across, find the front. I think War Machine, it's dual accepted in Melbourne as well, but Gate 2, there, it's a positive horse. I think it'll settle up in the box seat or just in behind the leaders. Rhythm of Love, Gate 5 will want to use its gate, be up there as well. It's interesting what the market's going to do with the favourites because we've got Ostraka, Gate 15. There's an option there to be ridden conservative from the outside barrier. I think they'll take their chance and try and hit the line strongly. By this time, we'll know what the track's doing. I suspect they'll be able to come down the middle part of the track. But it'll be interesting because it's a completely different setup. Drew low last start, sucked along the fence, got out at the right time, and now it's sort of going to have to sit back and wide. And then the other runner, V8, Gate 14, J-Mac aboard. I think he'll know what to do, sit back, run home strongly with Komochi as well. Looking to the chances, I think Ostraka is a great chance, but sort of that low draw, up and in run to sort of that wide draw, back and out run is a completely different setup. The $5 is probably a touch short. I wanted a bit further in an open race. I think V8 is a top chance. Forget the first up run. It ran really well at the Valley. It will improve. It has a strong win in the George Ryder, I think, last year.
J-Mac booking's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, massive.
Is that a bit of a giveaway?
When does he ride for the McAvoy?
Never seen it.
I haven't seen it
Bit of a
either.
giveaway. And on ratings, he is absolutely pitchforked into this race.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I'm happy to overlook one run. Me and May say it all the time. Always forgive one run or happy to overlook one run. It's the horse I want to be with, V8 on an each-way basis in this race. How about yourself, JC?
Well, V8 is one of the horses I liked in this race. I think we can make some quid out of this race. I think there's a few runners coming out of that same form race where Ostraka won. You've obviously got Moravia and Port Lockroy. All those three horses are very good horses in their own right, but that was a benchmark 94 race, and they do all rise in grades. You're taking similar prices, and they're not probably got to get the same runs they got last time. It wasn't a really fastly run race. They all were sort of up and in where you wanted to be on the day, and that I'm just got to pen that form race. So, unfortunately, if they're on the trifecta again, then I look like an absolute idiot or imbecile. Yeah. Either word works there. I've gone with V8. Everything Tom just said, let's just use that, copy paste V8 for me, and Komochi. She's obviously another horse in the market. I thought she was really, really impressive first up in that toy show quality. She beat home commemorative on that occasion. She went down to Melbourne. She finished alongside I Wish I Win, who's most likely going to start favourite or joint favourite in that Everest. And if you look at her runs third up in the past, she's had 2 runs third up. She's placed in both of them. Third behind Zugotcha in a Group 1 Coolmore. Great form for this race, obviously. And second, it is Invincible in the T-Rose when all those fillies were going through the 3-year-old ranks. So I think that's the right form for this race. that Group 1 weight for age race down in Melbourne. We saw Coleman obviously didn't win last week, but he was forced wide, whereas Switzerland probably got the run of the race towards the inside. Definitely. I think that form was Frank just off that run. You don't necessarily need to win races to Frank form, but he raced as well as he could have. And I think this race arguably is a bit weaker than that race. And I think both those horses are probably better than Coleman also. So I'm cheering home V8 with you. And if he doesn't get the chocolates, then let's hope Kimochi can for us. And maybe you might follow. Someone might follow. Hopefully they do. All right, race 9. This is the race where I just cannot wait to watch. You've got Pride of Jenny. She's obviously, I guess, the new it girl, poster girl, if you want to say, in racing. We just love watching her go around. It does give you a bit of a thrill, a bit of an excitement, because she's so different to 99% of the horses that go around week in, week out. She is a dominant favourite in this race. She's around that even money mark currently with CrossBet. She's been absolutely smashed since opening. You got Declan Bates coming for the ride, and she is going to be very hard to run down. Do you need to do a speed map for this race?
I was going to say the Racing New South Wales map has Pride of Jenny, then just has Major Bill just outside it.
Yes.
I don't think that'll be the case.
No.
I don't think they could fit enough tabs for the speed map of where Pride of Jenny was going to be. I think it'll be 6 lengths out in front. As it usually does. I don't think Major Bill will want to go with it. I think Major Bill will finish 35 lengths last if it tries to 40. Pretty much. I'll be watching it. I'll be running home. I'll be at the track out on Saturday, so I'll be running home the last 100 metres faster than that horse. The more fascinating thing, I think, is what J-Mac does with Fangirl. Gate 4, we all saw his rider error, if you want to say, with Via Sistina in the Queen Elizabeth. He came back. He was extremely disappointed with how far back he let the horse settle. Gate 4, Fangirl, does he settle sort of midfield, or does he just go all the way back and hope that he gets a cart that brings him up into the race? I'm going to be contrarian and say that Fangirl is probably a bit big in price, compared the two. I loved its sectionals last start, off the charts. They were enormous. Randwick 1600. This horse won this race last year. It is a wetter surface than last year, which I will concede doesn't suit Fangirl. But I don't think J-Mac will get it wrong. I think he'll put the horse in the right part of the track. And I think that last 200 metres will be critical. If you just look to sort of the Moonee Valley run, Mr. Brightside was taking lengths off Pride of Jenny late, only beating at 1.5 lengths. I think Fangirl is a far better horse than Mr. Brightside, which she beat in this race last year in the King Charles. So that form sort of ties up to say that Fangirl on her day is as good as Pride of Jenny over the mile, I'll go out and say. But yeah, the $3.80 I'd rather take than the $2 Pride of Jenny.
Well, we did talk about barrier draws in a positive light for IME. Now I'm going to talk about barrier draws in a negative light for Fangirl. Now listen to this, people at home. Cox Plate last year, 9 of 12. 7 of 7, race after, the Group 1 Champions Mile, where Pride of Jenny obviously won that race. Polo Stakes, 7 of 9. Very Elegant Stakes, 8 of 8. 9 of 12 in the Wink Stakes and 8 of 8 in the Seven Stakes. So Fangirl has not been really well looked after in the barrier draw front. She obviously is a back marker, but when she did draw a barrier at her most recent start, which was the King Charles, all the way back on the 14th of October, she drew barrier 2. She settled 5th in running out of 14 runners. So she can actually take a forward position for her, which is not forward, it's midfield.
It's tractable,
100%. So I have also landed on Fangirl. I don't know how, because I love Pride of Jenny, but I was really interested to see if these two have ever clashed, and my memory was jogging, and I went through punting form, and I finally found there was one battle. We always talk about Pride of Jenny versus Mr. Brightside. It feels like they're locking horns every bloody week throughout the autumn and spring carnivals. Pride of Jenny beat Fangirl home in that Champions Mile. I always thought Fangirl was a mare where if she had a really fast tempo, she'd be really well suited. She wasn't suited on that day. However, she was coming off her grand final assignment in the Cox Plate. So she was dropping 400 metres in distance. She was 4th up. She might have lightened off. That's what I'm going. I'm just using all the excuses out there to get my love of Fangirl and just to pretty much, I guess, support her as a play here. I think she can turn the tables here from that defeat 12 months ago. I think the speed on is just going to be absolutely lovely for her. And if J-Mac doesn't win the Everest, I'll be hoping that he win the King Charles to bring up his 100th Group 1. Obviously, he's been a little bit dirty, as you mentioned. He's been coming back into the stewards, or whatever you want to call it, doing his media. And, he's been a little dirty.
He has, hasn't he?
Yeah,
there is one horse that has the scalp of Pride of Jenny in this race. Amelia's Jewel beat this horse at Moonee Valley.
4 years ago?
Yeah, a long time ago,
Yes.
in its old form.
Broke the track record on that night from memory.
Yeah, it did. Broke the track record on that night. Very fast ground. I don't think they'll be breaking the track
No.
record given this track condition. But in a previous lifetime, Amelia's Jewel does have the scalp of the $2 favourite Pride of Jenny.
She has run second in both her runs back this preparation. She has also started favourite in both of those. So I think there'll be a few punters out there that probably won't be backing up. But if you want to back up, you're getting close to 20-1, and that's probably a price where she might be worth a bit of a throw at the stumps. No worries. Well, that's all our races done and dusted. Let's get into the most important part of the segment, and that's best bets. What do you have for us, Tommy?
Beautiful. I'll go to Randwick for 3 best bets this weekend. Randwick race 4, number 5, Hinged. This is the best weighted horse in the country on Saturday. Not going to throw the M word out there, but it is absolutely 54 kilos for a horse with its credentials is absurd. Blake Shin comes up, who's riding in the form of his lifetime, and I think $3.60 is a gift for this horse. Then we'll go to Randwick race 5, front page. We do want to drift. I think we might get a better price, and we can take Top Fluck, or we can get on CrossBet and take Top Tote. I think this horse will drift. I think it is set for this race. 2-time Cozzy winner, going for the 3 in a row, and I think they can get it done from the Matty Dale stable. And then we will go to Randwick race 9, number 10, Fangirl. As JC and I mentioned, I think this horse can settle closer from the good draw. J-Mac will have done his research all night, and I think he can get the scalp of Pride of Jenny in the last 200 metres. JC?
Very convincing once again, Tommy. That's something that I've come accustomed to with you in our short time together. Now, I think it's just this chair. I'm getting possessed by Slug or Mace the Ace or whatever you might want to call him, our fearless leader. I have watched trials. I'm now trial perv, unfortunately. So I've got 3 best bets. Newcastle, race 5, number 2, Sacred Fort. Is an 8-start maiden, but has looked to come back a new man. He's had his 2 best friends snipped off. Lovely piece of work. Go watch it at Musselbrook a week ago. You could argue he does his best work fresh. He was very unlucky at Scone last preparation. First up, let's head up north. Eagle Farm, race 7, number 8, Cigar Flick. Unfortunately, she was shipped up north at the end of last preparation, and she did defeat a horse by the name of Navy on the highway before being tipped out for a spell. Return with a nice piece of work over the 1,000 metres at Gold Coast. Flies fresh, winning 2 of her 3 starts. Carries absolutely no weight and drawn to get all the sucks behind the speed. And let's keep those cerise colours. Randwick, race 9, number 10, Fangirl. Hopefully she's got to get a lovely run behind a really, really hot tempo set by Pride of Jenny. Think she can turn the tables from that Champions Mile race this time last year. And I'm just got to jump on the bandwagon of Tommy Forward. Alrighty, that's another episode of Proper Punters done and dusted. Do you have anything to close us out with, Tommy?
No, can't wait for it. Hopefully the day's unreal.
You'll be down there for sure.
Yeah.
On the lawn or up in the members?
Come take it. I'll be
with
roaming
the peasants?
around.
Everywhere.
In the bookies, in the bookie room.
Tearing the bookies a new one.
Hopefully.
Bashing bookies, hopefully. That's what we like to be doing. CrossBet, look out. Won't be a good few on Saturday, I'm telling you. That's about it. All the best punters on Saturday. It's a huge day of racing, one of the biggest days of the year, and I cannot wait to watch the Everest. All the best.
What are you prepared to lose today? Set a deposit limit. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.